See how you do under pressure. Oh, yeah. I've been wanting this forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay. Hey. Yeah. Ain't no errors, baby. It's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra, extra.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode podcast. Talk about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. And currently, right now, we are sitting on Thursday, January the 2nd. Happy New Year's Day, or I guess belated New Year's Day. Obviously, it was yesterday, but hopefully you guys had a fantastic one. Do me a huge favor here. Smack up the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Do it on your way in. Today, we're going to have a good, fun-filled show for you guys today. We're going to talk a little Cardinals versus 49ers at the end of the stream. We'll also be talking about the Pro Bowl selections and who has made it in for the Arizona Cardinals. Hasn't been very many people, so let's temper our expectations there. And we're also going to dive into, is there any snubs for the Cardinals? Now, we also are going to talk a little bit Kyler Murray as well. He ended up having a press conference yesterday, and I have a couple clips that we want to dive into. And so, yeah, we got 4 topics today that we're going to try to run this as smooth as a ship as we possibly can here today. But big shout out here to the people that are currently in the chat right now. We got Matthew, we got Jakai, we got Martin, Ivan, Michael, Julio, Jameson. What's up, y'all? Appreciate you for being here. Like I said earlier, smack up the like button on your way in. And let me give you a huge shout out here to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube. BetUS. If you're looking for a brand new sportsbook, BetUS is the way to go. Currently, right now, if you use promo code YouTube150, they will provide you with 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and 125% sign-up bonus on the following 2. That's going to be using promo code YouTube150 upon signing up. Of course, bet responsibly and bet within your means. But ladies and gentlemen, let's go and dive right into it. Let's start the show, and let's first start talking about the Pro Bowl selection for our Arizona Cardinals, right? Pro Bowler selections. Any snubs? Let me know in the comments below and how you feel about the Cardinals, and if there should have been anybody else, attending the Pro Bowl for the Cardinals. Right now, there is two people that have made the Pro Bowl list. I know there's going to be some alternatives that might be chimed in after the idea of that team might be making it to the Super Bowl, so they can't. So, of course, there might be some sub-ins, some alternatives here, but for the most part, there is 2 guys that have made it for the Arizona Cardinals. And if you do not already know who those guys are, let me break it down for you, ladies and gentlemen. Trey McBride being one of them, and Budda Baker. That's it. That is it. That is it. We got 2 players, which honestly, they are probably our best players that we have on this freaking roster. So it absolutely makes sense. I'm actually very proud of Trey McBride and what he's accomplished this year. And I'm just going to be one of the first ones to say, pay him this offseason. If you want to go ahead and save something, right? Some little glimmer of what he could potentially accomplish here in 2025. He's only going to get better. He's only going to get better, have a lot more touchdowns in 2025. Pay him this offseason. Let's get it done with, and then we'll figure it out from there. This is arguably one of our best tight ends we've ever had in an Arizona Cardinal uniform. Actually, I'm not sure you can actually debate that, but this is probably our best tight end we've ever had in an Arizona Cardinal uniform. Pay him now, and he absolutely deserves this Pro Bowl selection. Super proud of him, and of course, Budda Baker, right? We got Budda Baker for a few more years. He just signed a recent extension as well, so there's that. Now, let me ask you guys this. Is there any snubs, right? Any snubs for the Cardinals? Now, if you don't know what a snub is, basically a guy that should have been in the Pro Bowl that didn't make it. The only one guy I would say that absolutely probably deserved it, right? At least, it's probably Connor, right? Just like my guy Brandon said, Connor getting snubbed. He's really the only one I can think on this roster that deserves a Pro Bowl selection. Now, he's been injured the past couple weeks, but he still could have got voted in, right? Still could have got voted. Connor has had an unbelievable year for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, yes, he wasn't been able to stay healthy through the entirety of the full year, but he's been good, man. Especially you fantasy owners that have James Conner. He's been involved in the receiving game as well as the ground game. 8 touchdowns, 1,095 yards on the ground, average about 4.6 yards a run. And like I said, he also did have some receiving yard as well. Let me get those stats here going up here. So for the receiving side of it all, he had 400 yards, so 55 targets, 47 receptions, 414 yards, and 1 touchdown through the air. So he is really the only one that I would come back and say he probably deserved a Pro Bowl selection, right? Everybody else on the roster, I think, makes sense, right? Makes sense as to why nobody else got selected in the Pro Bowl. Um, Buda's great. We know Buda Baker right now. He might be in the top 3 in terms of tackles, being a safety. So we all know that's absolutely amazing. Trey McBride, one of the best tight ends we've seen in Arizona Cardinal uniform, cracked 1,000, has 1 touchdown under his belt. But like I said, we know he's going to get more next year in 2025. So I think they casted it respectfully. I think they casted it the way that it should be for this Arizona Cardinal roster. Now, if anybody puts anybody else in the chat, I don't know if I can agree with it. James Conner would be the only one right now that I would say potentially could have got snubbed, right? But he is currently on IR for the Arizona Cardinals. Couldn't finish the rest of the season, but had a fantastic 2024 season for the Cardinals, man. Brandon in the chat says K1 snubbed us for saying we're not even gonna humor this. I just humored it, but that's funny. That's funny. He's the only one right now. Right now, James Conner's the only one that I could say potentially got snubbed for the Cardinals. So congratulations. Congratulations. Fire emojis. Hand claps. Trey McBride, Buda Baker, you absolutely deserve it. Go out there and represent the Cardinals, the Bird Gang. Absolutely deserve it. I'm super, super excited about these two going to make it. Absolutely. Now, I want to shift over this real quick. Now, I want to get your guys' gauge and how you feel about this, ladies and gentlemen, because the reason why we're talking about this so much is because I don't know if you guys watched yesterday's Peach Bowl, the bowl game where ASU had an opportunity to continue to make it within the playoffs of college. Unfortunately, they ended up losing here in Dover overtime to Texas. But what are your thoughts on this? I've read a few comments already, especially the ones where I ask a question and you guys respond to those comments. What are your overall thoughts about Cam Skattebo, right? For the most part, I think a lot of Cardinal fans have said it would be great. It would be an awesome storyline, but we don't need him. Not a lot. I mean, the people that don't want him, right? Or I guess I wouldn't say don't want him, but they don't feel like it's a need, right? So let me get your guys' live reaction right now. Yes, we posted a video about this probably about an hour or two since we're doing this podcast. What are your thoughts overall on Cam Skattebo? Now, I want to get your guys' live engagement and how you feel about this, right? Because like I mentioned in the video, you're probably going to have to target him somewhere along the lines of the 3rd or 4th rounder if you do want to get a Cam Skattebo in your roster. Now, to me, the biggest thing is you signed James Conner to be your guy in 2025, right? Now, there is an out from his contract in 2026. This might be a realistic, potentially landing spot for Cam Skattebo. Like, let's call it like it is. Obviously, the connection within the Valley, the connection here with ASU, and then Kenny Dillingham made a joke as well in the post game saying that, if the Cardinals can draft him, we can keep him here, right? Funny. It is funny. It is. It's cool. It's cool to hear head coach say something like that because, if you have an athlete that's doing what he's doing in college, throwing for a touchdown, having crazy numbers on the ground, having crazy numbers through the air, you almost kind of have to talk about it because you don't have very many athletes coming out of ASU ever, right? If Jaden Daniels was still the quarterback of ASU, that would definitely be something to be excited about. But unfortunately, he decided to transfer to LSU, and of course, he ended up becoming one of the top picks in last year's draft, right? But Cam Skattebo, what a great story, man. It's a great story. This new bracket that came out, ASU was in there. They were one of the top teams. So it's a very, very good story. I want to get your guys' gauge and how you feel about potentially the Cardinals going after a player like this, right? And we're not going to spend too much time on this. I just want to get your guys' live reaction because, it's different when you post a video. You got to go back and try to watch every single comment out there. And with all the stuff that I'm doing, it's kind of hard to do, right? Let's listen into some comments. We got Ian in the chat saying Skattebo's a monster. Definitely increased his draft stock. Facts. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. With what he did in this last bowl game, I can very well see him maybe get drafted in the third round. Like, truly. Now, the running backs that are going to get taken, he might have, let's say, 4, maybe 5 running backs taken before him. Just because, let's call it like it is. Right now, the number 1 running back is probably Genty. That's probably going to be the number 1 guy that's maybe even going to get picked up in the first round. But yeah, Skattebo has definitely increased his draft stock for sure. Absolutely. So it's a little bit more intrigue, man. It's a little bit more intrigue, right? Ivan in the chat saying, yeah, we can probably get him in a late second or a third. We need some heart, though. He'd be great even if, he'd be great even as a spell to JC. We'd run defensive. Yeah, I mean, it would be a crazy run game, right? It would be a crazy run game. Now, if we do go after a Skattebo, which I do see him more as a James Conner type of bruiser, running back. Now, I think he's 5'11", right? I think that's how tall he is. Let me see. I think he's 5'11", if I'm not mistaken. And then James Conner, oh yeah, he's 5. So Skattebo's 5'11". James Conner is, I think he's like 6 something. So definitely, yeah, James Conner's 6'1". So for what it's worth, right? I do see Skattebo as a bruiser, right? One of those guys that could definitely very well be a potential workhorse for another team, right? Or for a team in the NFL. Definitely helped his draft stock as, in this bowl game. Great story, man. It's such a good story. And I also did see somebody here in the comments. I saw somebody in the comments here that said, it's a good story. It will sell tickets. Michael Bidwell will do it, right? And I'm like, hey, you're probably right? If there is a big storyline that you want to follow, right, and it's a draft pick away, Michael Bidwell and Monty Usmore might make this move because of that alone, right? Well, we know right now with the Cardinal fan base, there's not a lot of, I guess, let's wait to see what happens in after week 18, right? Obviously, when we hit the offseason, come March, a lot of us are not even going to think about 2024 anymore, and a lot of us are going to get back excited, right? But right now, with how how fans feel about the season, a lot of fans don't like the way it ended, right? A lot of fans don't like the way it ended because you have 1 win after the bye week and potentially 2 wins with the San Francisco 49ers, just depending on how that works. But yeah, man, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So, want to get your guys' engagement, how you guys feel about Cam. I think it's a good storyline as well. I feel like it would be really cool to kind of add him into this running back core. And, anytime you can bring in a hometown hero sounds really, really cool to me, in my personal opinion. But we got Matthew in the chat saying, do you think Sam might transfer, Sam Levitt? I don't know, man. I don't know. We saw Jaden Daniels do it. If ASU can remain a top tier college team, right, to continue to be a top tier college team, I mean, I don't see a reason as to, but let's call it like it is. At the time when Jaden Daniels was the quarterback of ASU, we weren't that team, right? We weren't that team at all. So he almost needed to transfer to a big school to be even considered within the top 5, top 10. So when he went to LSU and obviously performed the way he did in his last year in college, that's what really kind of helped him elevate him to become Jaden Daniels that he is now, right? I don't know. I don't want to think in a world where he does decide to, if he does transfer, I hope not. Fingers crossed. That's all I can say about that. Richie in the chat says, we did draft Eno Benjamin a few years ago. Yep, 100%. And this is exactly what I said in the last video I posted, right? The last video I posted about Eno Benjamin, right? When we drafted him in the 7th round, we technically didn't need Eno Benjamin. I think we had a split carry between James Conner and Chase Edmonds at the time. But like, I don't like the way that they treated Eno Benjamin. It almost kind of felt like we brought him in here because of the storyline. Like, it was a 7th round pick. But this is different. I feel like this is a different circumstance because if you want to get a Cam Skattebo, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, you're probably going to have to get him in the 3rd round. Like, no 7th round. This guy's not going to fall to the 7th round. He's not going to fall to the 6th round. Maybe 5th, maybe 4th. He'd probably fall to the 4th. But, like, his draft stock right now is pretty up there. Like, I've already heard multiple podcasts from different organizations, teams, or like the 49ers, for example. People were talking about Cam Skattebo, right? They're talking about him. So that means there's people out there that already have their eyes on him in a national level, right? In a national sense. So that means you can't wait to 7th round to potentially get him. So although, yes, Eno Benjamin, the Cardinals did that as well, that was a 7th round pick, right? So you can sit back and say, oh, you're going to be a third stringer. With Cam, you almost kind of have to commit to, A, you're going to be the guy for us in 2026, or C, I guess there's not, so I don't know why I went from A to C, but B, I guess there's not really a B. I just would love the Cardinals to commit. If they did it, I'm cool with it. I like the story. I like him as a player. I think he would be really, really cool. But commit to it. Commit. Richie in the chat says ASU has a chance to become a top school in the conference. They gotta just gotta out recruit Deion Sanders. That's fair. That's fair. That's what I'm saying. Like, if they can continue their success, there's probably no reason for him to transfer. And I'm talking about Sam Levitt, right? Or any other top tier guys, right? That the ASU team could potentially have. Like, there's no reason. But right now, they're seen as a top school. Can they be consistent? That's the big question out there. If they could be consistent, you can bring in more talent coming into your school. But Kenny Dillingham and what he's doing over there is absolutely amazing. And I really, really like it. It's such a good story. It's fantastic to see it. It really is. Hopefully ASU can continue that success, right? Let's read one more comment, and let's go with MV. What's up, brother? He says, we need scat. Whenever Connor is off the field, our offense is weak sauce. I'm not mad at that, man. I'm not mad at that. We're going to be able to see an offense 2 weeks in a row without James Conner. Last week, surprising. Last week was surprising in terms of being able to throw the ball down the field. Very surprising. Let's see if we can replicate that here in Week 18 versus the 49ers. Fingers crossed, right? So, all right. Great conversation. Appreciate everybody for staying engaged here in the chat. Absolutely amazing. So, Skattebo. Okay. Seems like there's a lot of people that could potentially want him for the Cardinals to potentially trade or draft him. 3rd, 4th rounder. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. All right. Let's move on to this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on over to the next topic. Kyler Murray's thoughts heading into Week 18. Now, one thing I would say here is that you can get a gauge as to how this fan base feels about a certain game, about the season, by just looking at the YouTube channel of the Arizona Cardinals. Usually, Kyler Murray has, whenever he speaks, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 views, because obviously when your quarterback speaks, a lot of people want to listen in terms of what he has to say, right? Now, he was asked a lot of good questions for Week 18, getting ready here for the San Francisco 49ers. And just like I predicted on Monday night, and shout out to you guys on Monday night that was able to tune in. I get it. It was super, super late when we went live, but I predicted it, right? When Brock Purdy went down, it was almost inevitable. It was almost inevitable that we were going to see this storyline, that whether you want to believe it's a storyline or you don't want to believe it's a storyline, the Dobbs versus Kyler Bowl, right? It's what we're going to see here in Week 18. So we have a few different clips that we want to kind of dive into, all pertaining to questions that were asked to Kyler, and then we're going to react to it together, and then we're going to end off the stream with Cardinals versus 49ers, right? For the most part, I think most people want to win this game. At least Cardinal fans want to win this game, but there's some Cardinal fans out there that want to lose because of the draft pick. So we'll dive into that a little later on part of the stream. So let's get first started here and how Kyler Murray feels about, is there anything that he would like to see different in this Arizona Cardinal offense? Let's dive into what Kyler Murray had to say.
Some of the things then that you want to see this offense maybe do differently going forward?
I'm not going to get into all that, but yeah.
How much time do you take?
I figured. Worth a shot.
So the clip doesn't justify how awkward this was. It doesn't justify it at all. The clip that you're hearing doesn't justify, if you haven't watched the YouTube video, you don't know how awkward this, I want to say transaction, but this conversation was, right? this guy, this reporter, did also double down and ask another question, something similar to like the offense and how he feels about it. And like Kyler Murray, the way that he responds to this specific reporter, it almost kind of feels like I don't know if he even likes, like, I don't know if it's personal, or I don't even know if he thinks that these questions are valid, because we don't get a direct response, right? We don't get a direct response from Kyler Murray when it comes down to these questions, which honestly, I've heard the questions and I think they're pretty legit. I think but like, it's not just Kyler, it's a lot of this coaching staff too. It's Jonathan Gannon, and then also Drew Petzing. They like to dance around questions, right? Specifically ones that are very direct questions as to, like, let's say for example, right? This specific question was, is there something in the offense that you would like to see differently, right? Of course, we're sitting in week 17, heading into week 18 and ending off the season, you know, nobody answers the question, right? No, and here's the thing. If he did answer this question, I'm talking about Kyler, I could see how it could become a big storyline if he said something along the lines of, hey, I want to throw the ball more, right? I want to be able to get this offense more under my belt, right? I want this to be more of a let's throw this ball as opposed to run heavy, right? Of course, that could be a bigger storyline, saying things like, oh my God, Kyler Murray doesn't like Drew Petzing's offense. It's over, right? So I get it. I understand the other side of the coin. But man, these questions that haven't been answered haven't been answered at all from Drew Petzing. Because I also heard Drew Petzing and him speaking on Tuesday, like, these guys are just saying the same things over and over again, man. Over and over again. I don't think anybody's tuning into these press conferences because why? Like, why? Like, what are we really getting? Like, of value, what are we really getting as a Cardinals fan base, right? Kind of nothing. Like, we're not getting anything from these guys. Like, Jonathan Gannon, Drew Petzing, like, nothing. We're not getting anything out of these guys at all. And I've noticed as well, obviously, since the Cardinals have finished off after the bye week 1-5, there's been a lot of people that just don't really care about the Cardinals anymore. It's just a decline from here on out. They're just waiting for the season to end, and they're waiting for free agency to start up here in March, right? So there's that. Now, I want to get into another clip here that Kyler Murray was asked about how he assesses his play, right? How he assesses his play in 2024. And this is what Kyler Murray had to say about that question.
You assess your season as a whole.
It's a loaded question. We talking like wins and losses.
No, just how you played, coming back, being a full year in the offense, and how it is kind of a broad question. That's one thing.
Yeah, I mean, the goal didn't get reached, which means I don't think we played well enough.
So one thing I'll give credit here. I'll give credit to where credit's due. He's real, right? Whenever there's a glimmer of realness from Kyler Murray, it could probably last 3 seconds, 5 seconds, heck, maybe even 10 seconds, right? In a specific interview or specific press conference, he can say some things and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's real, right? That's real. He says that we didn't accomplish our goal, right? What was our goal? Our goal was probably make it to the playoffs, especially with your 6-4, right? Everything was in front of us, man. Everything was in front of us. The 49ers were going through all these big injuries that they couldn't get out of, right? The Seahawks were rolling with a rookie head coach and Geno Smith. They somehow was able to win 8 games. And then we allowed, and I'm not talking about just the Cardinals, but like the whole NFC West allowed the Los Angeles Rams to come out of the grave like a zombie and just basically take the NFC West away from us, from under our noses. They got healthy at the right time. They started winning a lot of games, and they able to come back, right? So one thing I would say is Kyler Murray's response to this, I really, really like, right? I really like the fact that he says that we didn't play good enough. We didn't, right? At the stretch of it all, we didn't play good enough. And let's play it back one more time.
You assess your season as a whole.
It's a loaded question. We talking like wins and losses.
No, just how you played, coming back, being a full year in the offense, and how it is kind of a broad question. That's one thing.
Yeah, I mean, the goal didn't get reached, which means I don't think we played well enough.
So the goal didn't get reached, so I feel like we didn't play well enough, right? I'm proud of that. I'm really Yeah, acknowledge it, man. Because if you're not acknowledging the fact that you kind of failed, then you're not going to be able to learn, right? And I'm sorry, like that might offend some people because some people might think of this like, oh, well, we're going to progress. We might win 8 games versus the 49ers. And we'll get to the 49ers game here pretty soon in terms of what I feel like is going to happen in this game. Now, I was wrong on the Rams game. So take what I say for what it's worth. Predictions usually aren't my forte. So maybe this might be completely wrong, but I'll let you know my own spiel and how I feel like this game is going to shake out Cardinals versus the 49ers in week 18. But, you know, I like this response. I really do. I think it's real. I think he said we didn't accomplish our goal and we didn't play well enough. Because I think at the end of the day, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, 100%. Now, listening to this is the last clip I have of Kyler. I promise. This one's a little longer, but this is talking about expectations, right? Expectations. Kyler Murray's expectations coming into 2020, into 2024, right? Let's listen into this, and we'll get to the super chats that we have here, but let's listen into the expectations.
And what your expectations were. I know you just got through saying you didn't play well enough because you didn't make the playoffs, but you do take positives out of this with the strides that this team has made, I assume, correct?
Yes. I think we played well in spurts. I think showed flashes. I just think we were too inconsistent, and it bit us in the ass, in a lot of these games that were, late November, December football, which is more meaningful. And, I won't say more meaningful, every game's meaningful, but there's some games early on that I feel like we could have or should have won that would have helped us out later on in the year. But we kind of put ourselves behind the 8 ball when we needed it the most. Me being who I am and, leader of the team, I feel, obviously take a lot of that on. But we all got to look in the mirror and play better. And that's what it comes down to. Are there positives from this season? Yes. Again, I think the outside people's perspective, did they think that we would even be in the position to go win a division or be in the position to do what we, could have done? I don't think so. But I think, in the locker room is all that matters, and we knew what we were capable of, and the fact that we were there and didn't get it done is, the most frustrating part.
Well, let me just address that last part he said, right? The last part he said was the fact that, like, there were some people that didn't feel like we were going to be in a position to win the division. And you're right? For the most part, a lot of Vegas and a lot of these sports books out there, nobody gave a chance to this Arizona Cardinals team to win the division. Nobody did, right? Because the odds were stacked up against the Cardinals, right? But there was a sense of belief at 6-4 from the fan base. So people outside this building, the Cardinal fans, including myself and a lot of the chat here, we believed. We did believe. We believed that, hey, man, this year 2 of Jonathan Gannon can be special. You just got to win these next games after the bye week, right? So, I don't know. I don't like the fact that he's kind of discrediting the fact that he's not saying the fans didn't believe, right? I think he's just talking in broad senses, right? In broad terminology. But we believed. We believed that we could accomplish that. And we were backing this Cardinals organization like nobody's business. We were there. We were like, yes, let's go. We were protecting them whenever we saw the Rams fans come up. We were protecting them when the 49er fans came up and tried to talk all this crazy nonsense. We were protecting them when all the Seahawks fans came up, right? We protected this Arizona Cardinals organization to the bloody end. Now, after that Panthers game, it's hard to protect them from there. But we did. We believed. We absolutely believed. Now, what he said is exactly the exact same things that I've said. My goodness. These same words that I wrote down here, the things that Kyler Murray has said, was the exact same things that I've said. But no, Mike's a hater. Mike's a hater. He's so negative. The 3 words: spurts, inconsistent, flashes. Spurts, inconsistent, flashes. That's been what the Arizona Cardinals offense has been, unfortunately, right? And if you can't call it like it is, then you don't know the truth and why the Cardinals have been struggling. And then after the bye week, the offense they perform in spurts. They perform in flashes. That they haven't been consistent. The biggest consistency is the inconsistencies of this offense, is what we've been saying all freaking season long. All season long. And Kyler Murray has come out and addressed it, right? Because it's the truth. And he also said we all got to look at each other in the mirror. I 100% agree, right? You all got to, everybody in this locker room. And that's why I've always said it's everything. And that's what people don't understand, right? For the people that want to get rid of Drew Petzing, there's a reason why I kept saying it's everything. It's everything. It's an accumulation of everything in terms of why this offense can't perform to the level of we all thought that they were going to perform. The offense is underachieved. If you can't accept that by now, you're lying to yourself. And it's still, to the day, heading into week 18, still inconsistent. Still. Flashes, spurts, inconsistent. Now, can they fix it? I mean, they got 1 week left. We're not going to know. We're not going to see a big enough sample size to get hyped up about 2025. Now, I get a recency bias, right? If the Cardinals either A, win, lose close, or this offense looks very, very good and Kyler Murray's chucking the ball deep down the field and he's commanding this offense, then there might be a sliver of hope heading into 2025. Now, like I said a little earlier in the stream, regardless, in March, we know how we are, fans, right? We know there's always a sense of hope in March and April, and we're excited about the season starting up. We know how it is. But I'm talking now, right? So, thanks for being real. Kyler, thanks for being real. JG hasn't been real. I feel like anytime he's actually called out a specific group, JG has called out the defense for not having a high enough motor, right? Never the inconsistencies of the offense. So one thing that I would love to see JG do, because JG is one of the first guys that will take the accountability or take the fault real quick. He's the first one to get blamed. He always says it. It's on me. It's on me. It's on me. It's on me. It's on me, right? Maybe time to call out this offense. Now it's a little too late. We got 1 week left. Not really much you can do at this point. But next year, right? I have all the confidence in the world that I think he's going to come back. There's no reason to fire JG right now, right? Especially because this Arizona Cardinals organization they love progress. They based everything off of progress. Were you better than you were last year? And yes, you were. Right? So, there's that. Now, let me get to my super chat here. BBH, what's up, brother? He says, you think we can trade for JJ McCarthy with these rumors about Kyler? And if so, how would you feel about that? Honestly, to be honest with you, I think anything is on the table. Honestly. Like I'm not one of those guys. Like I'm first and foremost, I'm a Cardinal fan, right? I'm a Cardinal fan. I like Kyler Murray because he's the QB of the Arizona Cardinals, right? But with all the rumors that are out there, and the rumors kind of mainly started with Colin Cowherd saying that he feels like the Cardinals are going to be calling this offseason to potentially move off of him, right? Now, whether you believe that's the truth or you don't believe that's the truth, you can't ignore the fact that a guy at the level that he's at, you say something like that, a lot of people are going to listen, right? Now, to talk about J.J. McCarthy, I think it would be... It's so tough because Sam Darnold right now has looked the best he's ever looked. And I mean ever looked in any other NFL uniform, right? The Jets or even the Panthers, right? This is the best he's ever looked. Ever. So, big question out there is, are they going to do away with J.J. McCarthy, potentially trading him away? Or are they just going to keep him there, learn from Sam Darnold, and potentially make him the future, right? Because there is benefits from sitting a young quarterback, right? Like Patrick Mahomes or any other guys that were sitting, right? There's a lot of benefits from sitting them and not playing them real quickly. Multiple benefits from it. If I was the Vikings, I would keep him. I would keep him. Now, Adam Schefter came out, I think 2 days ago or maybe yesterday. Adam Schefter of ESPN came out and said, there's going to be multiple calls. He could only assume that there will be multiple calls to the Vikings about J.J. McCarthy. Right? Right? A lot of people There's going to be multiple teams. And biggest reason as to why is because the idea that the quarterback situation that's right now, right, with all the quarterbacks that are coming in, a lot of them aren't great, right? A lot of them, even the top two. People said that if J.J. McCarthy came out in this draft class, he probably would be the number one quarterback. Whether you believe that's the truth or not, that's up to your decision, right? That's your discretion. But if I was the Vikings, I would keep him. Unless something completely blows me away, right? Unless something completely blows me out of the park. I would keep him personally. Do I think the Cardinals can trade for J.J. McCarthy? I think anything is on the table. I just don't think it's going to happen. The way I feel like it's going to happen, I think the Cardinals are probably going to ride out with Kyler in 2025. Whether you like it or you don't. Because it's progress. And the same thing for the Drew Petzing people out there. They want Drew Petzing gone. I never thought he was going to get fired, ever. I don't think he's going to. I mean, rumors are rumors, right? And of course, when you get into the offseason, it's going to be like that, right? It's going to be like that. So, if there is one thing that you can take away in terms of the quarterback situation, just hope that the Cardinals will be able to bring in another quarterback and not just come into 2025 with the quarterbacks that we currently have now. And I mean A, Kyler, and B, Tune, right? Just hope that you can draft somebody. It doesn't have to be in the first or second round, but there's some pretty intriguing guys potentially in the third or fourth round picks. Pretty intriguing guys out there. So that's one thing I would hope. JJ, I don't know. I just don't see it happening for the Cardinals. Can he get traded away? Yeah, he probably can. I just don't see it happening. Just don't see it happening at all. Julio in the chat says it's everything, and you're probably talking about when I said it, everybody was a problem, right? Everything was a problem. I mean, what are you supposed to do, man? I mean, what are you supposed to do? So, going back to Kyler Murray's talks here, I do like a lot of the things that he said here. I really do. I think he's as real as they come when it comes down to saying the truth. And the biggest takeaway is that this offense plays in spurts, inconsistent, plays in flashes. Biggest things. All right. Here we go. All right. Let's talk about this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about this. It's official. We already kind of knew about this already on Monday night when Brock Purdy went down. Unfortunate injury that he ended up getting. And the reason why I did this because it's an elbow injury. He's done for the season, right? Done for the season. So we are going to be living in a world where in week 18, if there is anything, and I mean anything you want to take away from week 18, or at least something to get you excited, something to kind of get you to watch this game, we're going to have Josh Dobbs coming into State Farm Stadium once again to take on the Arizona Cardinals. So, the Josh Dobbs versus the Kyler Murray Bowl. Now, am I making this a little bit bigger of a deal than that it actually should be? Maybe. But it's kind of all we got, right? It's week 18. It's kind of all we got. We got no playoffs coming our way. And if, like I said, if there's a storyline, you probably want to follow this, right? So Josh Dobbs coming into State Farm Stadium and taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Now, with what I've heard, it sounds like for the most part, starters will play for the 49ers. And of course, I mean, the starters that they currently have. Garendo, which is going to be their running back, which is no slouch, right? And keep in mind, Zach Charbonnet, the running back of the Seahawks, which nobody batted an eye in terms of, we didn't think he was going to go off. He went off. So could Garendo do that to the Cardinals? Yes, they can, right? So Garendo is going to play. Kittle, if healthy, Debo, if healthy, and their defensive side of the ball, right? The defensive side of the ball is going to play. With the exception of Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is not going to play. He's out. He's done for the season, right? So we're going to see Josh Dobbs with the weapons that Brock Purdy has, right? So that's still a good, capable team. The thing that I'm a little worried about is the fact that he's a mobile quarterback, right? He's able to extend plays with his legs. And he's shown some flashes here and there when he was the quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals. Shown some flashes here and there. Nothing to the point where I guess nobody should have said to themselves that Josh Dobbs was going to keep this job when Kyler Murray was healthy, right? But of course, you did have some fans out there saying that, right? But you're going to be able to see what this quarterback can do with a team that had aspirations for the Super Bowl. Now, also keep in mind that they've had so many injuries this year that's probably one of the biggest reasons why they got derailed and as to why they're at the bottom of the division right now. So this game right here has all the potential in the world to be a big storyline game leaving week 18. If you're Kyler Murray, you got to win this game. You got to. You got to win this game. The noise already out there is as loud as it possibly can get, right? We lost to Bryce Young. Not good. And that's the way we went out. We're no longer in the playoffs because we lost to Bryce Young. Let that sink in. That's terrible. We didn't get knocked out by the Rams and played tough. No, it was because of Bryce Young had a freaking masterclass against us. Not really, but he took care of the ball. And of course, Chuba Hubbard did the rest. But this game right here, the last game of the season, you want to give ammo, you want to give fuel to the fire that people want to get changed or start changing, start seeing changes. Kyler can't lose this game. You got to win this game. The Cardinals, for the most part, have been playing solidly on the defensive side of the ball, but the offense is going to be where it really, really matters here. Now, I'm curious to figure out how this offense is going to look like without James Conner, right? Without James Conner, because this is going to be week 2 of an offense without James Conner, because James Conner tried. He tried in week 7, but he couldn't accomplish it, right? He was like, yeah, it ain't going to work, right? It ain't going to work. So week 17, we saw an offense and what this can look like without James Conner. And honestly, I'm pretty surprised. I've come out and said that Kyler has had one of his best games, like top 3, top 4 games in 2024 against the Rams. Maybe not the amount of points scored, maybe not those interceptions, but the amount that he was commanding this offense, chucking the ball deep. There was still a lot of dink and dunk, let's be honest. A lot of dink and dunk, but we were actually throwing the ball beyond the sticks, right? One of his best games he had in 2024 was against the Rams. Is that because we didn't have James Conner? Is that because we had to rely on Kyler more? Potentially, right? But we're going to be able to see a double dosage of a back-to-back potential, maybe what his offense can look like without James. Will that work out to our advantage or to Kyler's? I don't know. We'll see, right? One thing I want to see is consistency. You showed us that you could command this offense in week 17. Let's see if we can run it back again. Do it in week 18. But you also got to win this game too. You also got to win this game too. You can't lose this game, man. You can't. Michael Carter being your number 1 running back, that's a little, that sucks. But, I mean, Michael Carter's still pretty solid, right? I'm just talking about the name. If you ask any NFL team out there, if you have James Conner or Michael Carter, who is your plan going to change? Of course. Of course it's going to change, right? Because James Conner is our number 1 workhorse running back. He won't be available. So maybe they might play this game as a less stopping the run, more stopping Kyler Murray type of game. Potentially, right? You know Kyle Shanahan wants to win this game. I know there's a lot of 49er fans that want that draft pick, but, for pride, a lot of these players, a lot of these coaches, they don't care about the draft pick. They don't care about it. That's a fan thing. That's a fan thing to think about. Ask the Giants. Ask the Giants. Weren't they the first overall pick? And because they won, now they got shot back. to potentially not get their quarterback of the future, whether it's Shador or Ward. So ask them. They don't care. They don't care about the draft pick. They'll figure that out here in March or in April. And they're also putting tape out for other teams out there that could potentially want their services next year. So they don't care about the draft pick. 49ers are going to want to win, and the Cardinals are going to want to win. It's as simple as that. Now we've seen Josh Dobbs have good games using his legs through the air. Is that going to happen versus the Cardinals? That's the big question, right? Are we going to see a shootout? Or are we going to see another performance where the offense can't get right? That's going to be the big question out here. That's going to be the big question. My guy in the chat says, what happened to Demicardo? Demicardo is on IR. Trey Benson, also hurt. I don't know if he's on IR, but I know Demicardo is. Let me look at Trey Benson right now. Oh, yeah, Trey Benson is IR too. Yep. So, James Conner, IR. Trey Benson, IR. Amari Demicardo has been on IR. Yeah. It's rough out here. We're going to be rolling with Michael Carter at running back 1 and DJ Dallas. That's what we're running with. I knew Trey Benson was hurt. I just didn't know he was on IR. But yeah, apparently he's on IR. Yep. Not good. Not good. But like I said, last week, Kyler Murray had one of his best games. So maybe this might help out to the favor of Kyler. Maybe the approach is going to be, we got to throw the ball. We got to sling the ball more, right? Maybe that's going to be the approach coming into this game. And that might work out to the favor of the Cardinals, right? Which is a good thing, because that's what you want to see. You want to see this offense being commanded by your quarterback. Maybe the struggle is because we depended too much on James Conner. Maybe that's the struggle. I don't know, right? We will make the assessment next week after this game. But yeah, they want to win, man. 49ers want to win. Cardinals want to win. Absolutely. We got Robert in the chat. What's up, Robert? He says 2 years ago when Kyler scored against the Raiders from the goal line for like 40 yards, that's what I want to see more from Kyler's pocket awareness matters. So yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? Kyler Murray says spurts, inconsistency, flashes, right? Those are the 3 words he used to describe the Arizona Cardinal offense in the 2024 season, which those are words that I've used all freaking year long, right? But that's what Kyler Murray said, our franchise quarterback. Spurts, inconsistency, flashes. Those are the terms and the words that he used to describe this offense. I mean, you could also use those words to describe how he played too, right? Specifically him. Or his career. Yeah, I mean, you very well can. Kyler wants to win this game. He said it himself in the press conference. He said there's something about playing better or playing your best game, because this is the last one. There's no more we can get better. There's no more. It's done. It's cooked. There's no more we're going to get better or we can learn from it. No more. This is it right here. You can't learn or get better, then you're never going to in 2024. I guess technically 2025 because we're living in 2025 now, but spurts, inconsistency, flashes. Yeah, that's the 2024 Arizona Cardinal offense in a nutshell there, ladies and gentlemen. That's the Arizona Cardinals offense in a nutshell. We got my guy 1IQ in the chat. What's up, buddy? He says, I think since we are eliminated, Drew didn't want to care about running and being conservative, so he expanded the playbook to be more of a pass-heavy team. Maybe, right? Consistency shows in a 2 or 3 game sample size, consistency. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see that after this week. If Kyler Murray comes out here and has another 300-yard performance and is actually chucking the ball deep down the field and commanding this offense, hey, we can talk a lot more positivity going into 2025. But have they shown that? Can they show that? I mean, we'll have to kind of wait and see how it shakes out. But maybe you might be right. Maybe without having James Conner, we shifted from a run-heavy offense to a pass or more of a balanced offense. Maybe. We'll see what happens versus the 49ers. This 49ers team, although they got run up and down by the Lions, they're no slouch. They're going to have Josh Dobbs. That's the truth. But he's still a capable quarterback. A lot more mobile than Brock Purdy is. And although Brock Purdy is pretty mobile, like he doesn't get a lot of credit for it, but he's pretty mobile. Not a mobile quarterback, but he could still move. He's not like Jimmy G back there or Matthew Stafford, right? Josh Dobbs can use his legs and he's got some speed. So, here we are. Last week of the season. I asked you guys this last week. Draft pick or win? Same thing right now in the chat. Just one word. Draft pick or win. Last podcast that we ended up doing, we had a lot more wins, surprisingly. People didn't care about the draft pick. They're like, it is what it is. We're going to finish somewhere around the 11 to 17 mark, regardless of the win or loss. That's going to be where we play, regardless, right? Or that's going to be where we pick. So my question to you is, one word in the chat: win, loss. Win, loss. What do you want? Or sorry, not win, loss. Win, pick. Win or pick. What do you want out of week 18? We got my guy Fish Guy here in the chat already saying win. Gotta win. Jesus says pick. Keep it going. Win or pick? Pick. 2 wins, 2 picks so far. Win. Keep it going. Last time, it was a lot more wins than picks. Now, obviously, different people watching in different times when you got time to watch, obviously, right? There's some people that still want to win. Some people that still want to win. So, let's see how they approach it. Let's see how they approach it. Do I want the Cardinals to win? Yeah, I mean, I would like to finish off the season on a high note, but I'm not going to lie to you, right? On the other side of the coin, it would be cool to have a lower draft pick than 14. So, yeah, it's one of those things, right? Sean in the chat says, win, let's sweep the 49ers. It's a good mentality. It's a good mentality. It really is. Yeah, we'll see. If you lose this game, I could only imagine how bad the noise is going to get. I could only imagine how bad the noise is going to get. Because you can't lose this game if you're Kyler. Now, but we also said that with the Panthers, right? You can't lose this game versus the Panthers. Lose the game, right? So it's one of those things, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what happens here. For the most part, in what I've been hearing, the 49ers will be running with their starters, with the exception of, obviously, Brock Purdy, right? He's already been rolled out. No longer going to be playing in the 2024 season. It's going to be Josh Dobbs versus Kyler Murray in Week 18. Cardinals versus 49ers. So, there's that. Let me give a huge shout out here real quick to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube. We're going to be closing up shop here pretty soon. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate you, everybody, for coming on here. Huge shout out here to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube, BetUS. If you're looking for a brand new sports book, BetUS is the way to go. Currently, right now, if you use promo code YouTube150, they will provide you with a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and a 125% sign-up bonus on the following two. That's going to be using promo code YouTube150 upon signing up. Of course, bet responsibly and bet within your means. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be closing up shop right here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. For the people that have been here throughout the entirety of the stream, thank you. Do me a huge favor, smack the like button if on your way out. Today, we talked about Pro Bowl selection. Anybody get snubbed? Also talked about Kyler Murray's thoughts heading into Week 18. And then obviously this topic. And Skattebo too. Forgot. Yeah, we also talked about Cam Skattebo. Do you want him for the Cardinals to pick him? So yeah, a lot of topics we covered today. So if you guys want to watch this on a playback, if you're watching this on X/Twitter, you're probably going to have to watch this on a playback here on the YouTube side because it does get deleted here on X/Twitter. After the live stream, gets completely deleted. But you got to watch this back on a playback if you just tuned in here really, really late. But smack the like button on your way out, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe over to the AC Sports Fan here on YouTube on the YouTube side. We're on the road to 70K. Can't do it without you guys. So appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, go Cardinals.